Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to this, your Sunday flagship podcast. I am your host, The Gov. I'm looking forward to discussing the world of Ipswich Town Football Club with you, despite the fact I wouldn't give them a dog to look after because they couldn't hold on to a lead. That's as far as my comedy goes. If you've got any better jokes, then please do let me know. The live chat is really, really busy this morning, and I absolutely love to see an incredibly busy chat. If you're watching this live, I apologize, my friends, for being late. If you're listening on our audio platforms or watching on catch up, we were never late in the first place, but I'm glad you could be with us. Right, while we wait for the mogul, I did say to him we'll start at 1:40, so he's not late. He's bang on the money. But while we wait for the media mogul, let's do a couple of things we normally do on a Sunday afternoon. First and foremost, well, not normally, because this is not something we normally do on a Sunday, but we do have a bonus prediction league for you with the link coming into the chat in approximately 5 seconds time. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 points on offer. The reason why I'm doing a bonus prediction league this week is because obviously we're coming towards the end of the season. I have yet to do an up-to-date league table to show you, but I'm desperate to get as many as I possibly can into potential prize winning positions. If I show you the league table from game week 31, bear with me, this is 4 weeks out of date. I will get there eventually, my friends. Then you'll see the players with yellow scores are in the prize positions, with Ben Moore on equal points, so we will include him. But there are so many so close to the prizes, and I'm going to get some really good prizes lined up for the eventual winner. Those players in yellow will go into a draw, but I'm desperate to get as many of you as I possibly can into it. So there is 6 games, 18 points to possibly win. So please do get involved. I've just been asked, hi Gov, good afternoon, Simon and Nikki. I hope you are both well. How was your fish and chips with your mum yesterday? Fish and chips with my mum was delightful. I had a haddock, beautifully cooked at the fish dish in Felixstowe. This is not a paid plug, but if you've ever been there, you'll know how good it is. If you haven't, then you're missing out. It was my late father's birthday yesterday. It was my late dad's favorite place alongside the Spa Gardens was the fish dish. We went there and we had fish and chips and we laughed and we joked. And they spoke about Dad. I'm not quite able to do that just yet, but they spoke about him. And then we went to the arcades where my 2-year-old son stole the show, as you would do in an arcade with loud music and flashing lights and God knows what else. But thank you very much, Simon and Nikki, for asking all of the same. Mike D, I'm having a weekend away at Aldborough next week for my birthday. Looking forward. Do you know, I don't think that made the best fish and chips. I don't think we had a fish and chip shop make the best fish and chips list in Suffolk, which I just found on the one hand surprising, but on the other hand, having had family from Romford and those London / Essex routes, quite understandable, because some of our fish and chip shops are just not up to the standard of even Romford. And welcome to Talking Fish and Chips with your host, The Gov. Anyway, we'll move ourselves on from the fish and chips to our TT Fifth Standards while we get Mr. Mogul ready. He's in his TT merch. He's got the idea. He's got the plan. But a huge thank you to every single person on this list. If I had the time, I would go through every single one of you individually and thank you, because honestly, you are the reason why I do the shows. You are the reason why I'm sitting here this morning looking at the diary, planning summer content, planning the summer diary, putting together hopefully what will be an entertaining summer package of content for you. And if you've got any ideas, please do send them in via the email, homedressingroom89@gmail.com. We've had a couple of people already fire some great ideas into the email box. So we're looking to act on those. Callie says fish and chips don't count unless you had Black Country chips. I've never really even left Suffolk or Essex, mate, let alone gone into the Midlands. Although my sister-in-law's at the University of Birmingham, so maybe one day, who knows. Kev Gates, hi Simon and Nikki. I'll buy you both a drink. That's a private conversation. I'll leave that there. Heidi, packing my suitcase for holiday while watching off to sunny Gran Canaria. Well, Heidi, have a fantastic time, and don't forget, I love a bottle of sangria. Speaking of which, when do I collect mine? When do I collect my bottle of sangria, Mr. Phillips?
Used to be like people said, bring me back 200 Marlboro, wasn't it? Back in the day.
Yeah, 200 Marlboro Lights, please, mate. No, Camel. Good old Camel. Camel. You always knew who had gone on an all-inclusive 2 weeks in Europe. They came back with Camel cigarettes. And they spoke like that for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
How are you, buddy?
Well, I've woken up with a cold / hay fever, which is equating to man flu in my book. So you're all lucky I'm here.
Well, it was touch and go, but I've just proved I can do a 5-minute one-man show. Not quite I can do a 60-minute one-man show.
Would be difficult, I feel. But look, we're here to talk town. It's all good. Everyone watched the boxing last night. We'll see highlights of it in whatever.
Well, let's start there, because that's a good place to start whenever we have a talking town on the Sunday after a boxing fight. Obviously, we had some good numbers tune in for our pre-fight special on the Thursday. We're very grateful for that, aren't we, first and foremost, I think?
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone who wants to listen to me chat boxing for half hour, I appreciate it.
It is. So, Tyson Fury, Dillian White. What are your thoughts? Because you're interesting.
Well, I mean, look, the Americans were complaining they had to pay something like $80.
I was complaining.
Dollars for the undercut. It was absolutely terrible. Other than Isaac Lowe versus Nick Ball, which was an absolutely tremendous fight. And I don't know if you'd be able to watch that back on YouTube if you've not seen it. Put that in.
You will be able to at some point.
That was really good. It'd probably be on a BT app at some point, I would have thought, if you got that. But yeah, Tyson won in 6 rounds. I think you said 6 rounds, didn't you, Mike? Did you say 6 rounds?
I did, yeah. I think I did. I can't quite remember. But I certainly did say Tyson would knock him out.
It was certainly a bit of a plodding fight to begin with. I mean, Tyson was obviously on the back foot, as we predicted he probably would be. And then it didn't really take much to get Dillian out there, did he? He sort of measured it with the jab and then that big right uppercut, which has stopped Dillian before against Joshua and Povetkin. And it floored him again. So that's clearly his kryptonite, isn't it, Dillian White? And I don't. Obviously, Tyson was saying that that's it for me. Maybe for the time being, until the dust has settled on Joshua Usyk too. And
until he told ESPN that he was going to be fighting the UFC heavyweight champion.
Yeah. A big hitter himself in the octagon. But whether or not he could live with Tyson's and I think that would be an exhibition anyway. I do know that they've been looking at these kind of exhibitions that Mayweather's sort of parading the world. Traveling the world doing. He's got another one coming up in Dubai where they pay you like 10 million just to have a little run around for 5 rounds. So I think he's looking at that. I think he'll go back to WWE. It was quite telling that Triple H and Stephanie McMahon sent him a good luck message. So he's obviously got a lot of love over there. The world's his oyster moment, but I think you'll see him against Joshua Usyk. Absolutely. Who can predict?
And it'll be big money as well, particularly if it's AJ that goes through Usyk, because...
Well, that's the other thing, isn't it? What's it going to take to get me out of retirement? 40 million? 50 million. He did say money doesn't buy you happiness, but helps though, doesn't it?
It certainly gives you a good chance to at least obtain it. He didn't say he's retiring. He just said he promised his wife after the trilogy he would, and then here we are. And there's always going to be that here we are until I think he gets beat personally, or he goes out on top as the unified champion. But a great way to end the fight: jab, uppercut, good night.
It was a beauty. Dillian was okay, thankfully. And he's done all right out of it as well. He'll come again. Still lots to look forward to. I think they announced Joseph Parker, who we mentioned was the ultimate opponent for last night, against Joe Joyce for the summer, which is a really good fight. Probably be on bloody box office again. And whether or not Joe Joyce is box office, I'm not sure. But in terms of a contest, I think that'd be very good. Yeah.
Callie's convinced at this point Tyson Fury only fights so he can get bigger crowds to hear him sing. Love hearing him sing. And he praised Jesus Christ straight afterwards, as I always love to see as well. So that's the boxing.
Yeah.
Now we come to the main event of the evening. We've had fish and chips. That was the undercard. We've had the boxing as the semi-main event. And here we are, main event, Ipswich Town away at Crewe. I've titled the show, Matt, Why Don't Ipswich Town Have a Dog? Because they can't hold on to a lead. And yet again, we are going to be discussing Crewe snatching. I'm going to put snatching as it is. A 1-1 draw, a point. Now, you're not very happy. Is that still the case?
I'm chilled out now because I watched the box.
You've chilled out.
But I wasn't happy yesterday. I mean, look, how do I put this? I don't want loads of people getting on me back a bit, but you and me have chatted about this. The season is not ending well for McKenna. for Ashton, for anybody involved
No.
On the coaching staff or behind the scenes at Ipswich. I mean, what was it? I think Crew have won like 3 games since the turn of the year. So like 3 wins in something like 20 odd matches. And then lo and behold, we keep conceding the same goals again, don't we? Again, it was a great strike, like the guy at Shrewsbury. But again, it broke in the middle of the park and he's rifled it past Morton. We conceded the late goals at Oxford against Wigan. The sheen has come off McKenna for me, and which is understandable. I'm not saying he's crap or anything before everyone starts getting moody about it, but he's still a learning manager. But we're not ending the season well. What is it? 1 win in 9? 2 wins in 9?
Yeah, 1 win in 8, I think Cruncher said yesterday.
I wouldn't mind if we were kind of like progressing. Look, the playoffs was always going to be a long shot. But as Cook found when he took over Lambert's team, we've gone back down the table again. It's really odd. And I what the answer is, God only knows. Otherwise, it'd be in the Premier League, right? So I don't know what the answer is, but it's bloody frustrating. And you know when it's going wrong at Ipswich because the emphasis goes on the great travelling fans. I know there was a lot of Morsey did it, Chaplin did it. It's great. What great away support. I'm sure that comes from the comms office. Just say everyone's had really great away support. If it was up to me and my mad ultras mind, I wouldn't go. I'd have no one there. Just a banner saying, you let us
You're
down.
like me. You're like me. You're like me. It's a little bit, I applaud them, salute them. They're warriors. They're great fans, all of the above. But you've got to send a message. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think we send a message by taking 1,200 up each week or whatever it is.
But, you know, pay your money, take your choice. And
absolutely.
You know, as Callie asks here, question, is KM the real deal? Did we finally have a manager bounce for a bit? I'm going to show you 2 league tables, excuse me. First of all, it is the League One table, as I always do on a show. It does make for depressing reading because I've got to scroll down a look, my friends. No longer do we sit comfortably in 9th, so all fits on one page. I now have to slide down. We're sitting in 11th. We could finish as high as 9th, but it is unlikely. A win for Portsmouth on Tuesday against. They're in the prediction league. I should know that. I've just written it literally. Wigan will see us end either 10th or 11th. That's not pretty reading, is it? That league table.
It's just terrible. We've said it on here before. It's embarrassing, actually. Look, a team that got promoted out of League Two is ahead of the team with one of the biggest budgets in the whole of the Football League.
Well, you could go further. A team that's just been promoted, having had financial difficulties in the last 24 months.
Yes, do you remember we beat them 5-0 up there against their youth team? I mean,
so not only have they rebounded better, they've rebounded further. Ipswich have, and they've just had a reset. Those last 5 for me is worrying because there's not one green on there, which is shows you how ill health you are. If I show you the other league table, which is the form table, well, that one there, that may make you cry a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Because it's even worse a reading because Ipswich Town are 4th from bottom in the form guide. Only Wimbledon, Gillingham, and Shrewsbury are below Ipswich Town in the form table. The form table covering the last 5 games. I could go further, but I shan't because it may depress me further. So, as Callie asks, real deal or manager bounce?
I think it'd be harsh to say if he's the real deal. Look, he's done what, 20 games, 22 games or something like that. So he's still so early in his career. But it worries me that everyone's going, oh, next season's going to be okay. We'll get it right next season. Based on what? I just blind faith at the moment. Based on people that, we've got this squad that finished 11th, probably, going into next season. The summer again is going to be massive. We'll have to see who he brings in before we actually make any, and who departs before we actually make any bold predictions as next year's going to be all right, because you'll have Peterborough come down, you'll have Barnsley come down. Whether or not Barnsley are going to be a contender, I don't know. Ditto Derby. Who knows who Derby's owners are going to be, whether or not Wayne Rooney will still be the manager. There's a huge load of narrative out of that one.
Yeah.
And whoever doesn't get promoted this season, one of Wickham, an Oxford, a Sunderland, an MK Dons, it could be a Rotherham, whoever, Plymouth. It's going to be just as competitive. So I've worked out, I think we've been doing something like, McKenna's done something like 1.7 points per game, which gets you to 79 points. So actually, over 46 games, which actually wouldn't get you into the playoffs again. Because it's 80, isn't it? 6th place teams on 80. Can you believe that? The 6th place teams on 80, mine. Who's to get you promoted in second?
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a mad league this year. Next year could be a little bit easier, a little bit more tougher.
I think it is. I hope it's easier. You don't be bloody trying to pitch on a promotion run on 80 points, finishing 6th or 7th, do you? But at the moment, there's nothing to show me that any next season's going to be any different. And Ipswich Town's history doesn't show you that when we say next year's going to be our thing. I mean, Stu Watson put in his East Anglian today. It's time for this club to deliver. Bloody, I've been saying that since we got relegated at Anfield.
Well, what's one of my things? Don't tell me, show me. I'm always saying that. Don't tell me, show me, because I've been told for years to show me now.
Nothing. This club's done nothing. Like we keep saying, it's a bit of a running joke now, isn't it? We've not been to New Wembley. I know a lot of clubs went to New Wembley as part of the Spurs played in there. But yeah, do you know what I mean? It would just be typical of Town that they're in that mix with all these other little crappy teams. But you talk about teams, Ipswich falling down and Bolton overtaking us. Well, we're going to be on parity with Forest Green Rovers next season. Maybe Sutton. 2 mainstay non-league sides from God knows how long.
I'm going to answer Callie because obviously there's only 2 of us, so I can't be the impartial, bring the balance host today. I'm going to give an opinion. I think McKenna is the real deal. I like McKenna. He's a student of the game. Yes. We play some fantastic, exquisite stuff. We're not quite the finished article. I think a lot of the game we switch off, which is a League One player trait. I think otherwise there'd be a higher player, a higher level. We're just a couple of players away, but I do think, to answer Callie, he is the real deal, and it is certainly different. And I know it's been spoken about on social media quite a bit over the last 24 hours to this time last year under Cook. For me, it does feel different. I was never bought. You'll know this from our private WhatsApp groups. I was never bought on Paul Cook. I was never. I kept the receipt, and I was never bought. I kept saying, Then the summer happened, and I thought, you know what, this is a squad that could win the league, should win the league, and it should be higher than what it is. I won't go as far as say best squad, as some would say, but it should be higher than 9th. Frank says, I'm still looking forward to next season, but we must stop the trend of not finishing teams off when in control. Recruitment this summer is key. Quality over quantity. Paul P. McKenna seems very clear. He knows what he's doing over the summer. Going to be an interesting few months. Just a side note, I've had a couple of WhatsApp messages in the last 10 minutes. We are going to be having a link coming very shortly, so be ready with the trigger finger. Stephen Parry, sometimes it's harder to get the right players when you have a bigger choice than when you have little choice. Mike D, I think the season has been dead for a few months. Wouldn't read into form much. I don't know, you say. Mike said this on yesterday's show, Matt, and I don't think I take umbrage with it, but I don't know if I agree with it. Like, everything's important, is it? Because it's about standards, culture, and habits. Habits. Don't know where that came from.
That made me laugh. I'll start sneezing.
But because you've got to. Yesterday, was that the standard? Was that the culture? Was that the habit we want to take into the new season? And then, of course, you can get into the mindset of it doesn't matter. Results then differ, and momentum falls off, which is what we're seeing now. So, where are you on this? Doesn't matter. It's been dead for a while. It's all irrelevant.
I don't think, as professional athletes, I don't think anything's ever dead. I mean, they've got their professional pride, and if they're looking for, if you got out of contract or you got interest from other clubs, I think professional athletes are always going to be that, always going to have that competitive edge, that competitive spirit. Look, I mean, bloody hell, the season's over for Group. The kid sends a rocket in from 25 yards.
Yeah, good goal.
The team's finishing bottom of the table. So that illustrates the argument, doesn't it? I just think, it didn't help Burns didn't play, although KVY, you called it yesterday, didn't you, Ryan? He thought he'd have a pretty decent game and he got the assist, which was good to see. Whether or not he's going to be in the mix next season, I don't know. But I mean, look, this faith there where McKenna says, I'm crystal clear in what needs to be done, which is great. And he did. Funny enough, the guys who sit around me, David and everybody, always say to me, 1 goal is never enough, Matt, when we go 1 up. And McKenna did say that himself yesterday. 1 goal's never enough in League One. Funny enough, talking of goals, and I know I saw the Fisherman talking about Piggott on Twitter this morning. I've never actually watched the Piggott highlight reel at Wimbledon, which is about 8 minutes long, all these goals. So I decided to watch it today and kind of compare what we saw yesterday. I mean, bloody hell. If he was still at Wimbledon and that was this season, you'd be looking at that guy going, get that guy in. He's quick. He's coming deep. He's playing beautifully timed balls for what would be the equivalent of Chaplin or Selena or Burns to run on and score. Their crossing's much better, by the way, at Wimbledon. I must say, from the highlight reel. And it's almost like a magnet. He's there around the penalty spot. He's there between the penalty spot and the 6-yard box. And the ball just finds him. He looks completely different. I mean, he's wearing number 39. Now, whether or not he needs to get that number back, I don't know. Rather than number 9. I
thought yesterday I saw a few flashes from Pigott. You know, he had a few flashes of the goal, didn't hit the target. But I think like a Macaulay Bonne, he's starting to get into his own head. He's starting to know he has this. He needs the break as well as Bond does.
We need that one back at Wimbledon. I mean, like I say, that's the first time I've seen it. Richard's told me about it before. He said, "Oh, God, watch it." So just out of interest this morning, you know, not feeling too well, I watched it. If that was this season, everyone in these comments right now will be going, "Get him in." So what's happened at Portman Road for him?
Pressure. He's had a bad year. He's had a manager bring him in, manager gets sacked. He's had some personal issue with his, you know, with the death of his father.
Yes.
And then he's had the pressure of actually knowing that fans aren't happy, fans are expecting, and he himself is a professional football player. He has high standards, I have no doubt.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Every time he enters the field of play, he wants to score, and you see it up and down the leagues, be it the best players or the worst players. They all have an expectation, and when it doesn't go their way, you hear commentators, "Oh, he's snatching at it," or he just needs to let it come to him naturally, you know, because they start putting the pressure on themselves. I don't need Joe Pigott of Wimbledon. I don't need 20 goals. I need 5 to 8 goals next year from Joe Pigott. That's what I need.
You like this idea? You like this idea of spreading the goals around, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Moneyball system. Watch the film with Kevin Costner. It's a great, you know. Don't get me a 20-goal season. Get me 3 or 4. But no. But as a third or fourth piece, if your third or fourth piece striker has got 5 goals, that's good. That's a good return from the number of minutes. And you don't need. I mean, you'd love it. Don't be wrong. You'd be in, you know, 7th heaven if Joe Pigott of Wimbledon turned up and scored 25 goals next year. But you don't need that expectation on him. You just need that. Go out. I need 5 goals a year from you. I need 8 goals a year from you. And who knows where it goes?
You're kind of relying on everyone else stepping up to the plate there as well, though.
That's recruitment, though, isn't it? But that's down to your recruitment again.
Yeah. You're dealing with humans here rather than cartoon characters or computer games or whatever it might be. It's difficult. I mean, look, he's got 2 this season. I mean, like, one's an own goal, really. One was a pen. I think he scored at Gillingham, didn't he, in the Pizza Cup? I don't know. Sometimes you think to yourself, could the answer be under our nose all along? But I mean, he looks completely different from that feeder. I would love it if he was back to that guy in that video, because he looks absolutely on fire. But
had you got 8 goals from Joe Pigott this year, so 5 more than he's got at the moment, you've got that's a healthy collection of players,
isn't it? I mean, if he's just scored a consolation in a 3-1 loss or something, it don't really make no difference. If it's the winning goal each time, then suddenly you've got 15 points, haven't you?
Those are things you can't quantify, you can't discuss, because you don't know when the goals are going to come. What you do know is that if you had a player like Bonne on the number he's on, Burns is on, Chaplin's on, Pig on 8, Morsey on 5 or 8, you suddenly, because we're about 10 to 15 goals if you go by just goals scored behind the leading 3, and you've got to hope those 10 to 15 goals would have come against your Morecambe 0-0, your Fleetwood 0-0. They would have been the deciding points. Or yesterday, a second goal, they may well have come in a consolation. But you can't, obviously quantify.
Well, we're not. Maybe laugh yesterday because I watched the game on with the crew commentary on, because you can switch between the two. I quite like the crew commentators from last season. I thought they were quite good. And they were like, there's some big units in that Ipswich defence. You got Donassian. They actually got Donassian's name right. There's Wolfenden. There's Burgess. They're big lads. There'll be a threat from corners and set pieces. Mark my words. I was like, hey, he really hasn't researched this cover.
That's basic research, that, isn't it? Just watch this platform for more than 10 minutes. We often highlight the corners being an issue. Ben Moore, I do think I'd sign Bonne in the summer. You don't score 12 goals and become a shit striker overnight. He hasn't had the service that he had at the start of the season. Carl Brooks, that's true. Carl Brooks, sometimes players just don't suit systems or styles. Pigs is all wrong from McKenna Ball. Only striker that suits is Jackson, but he's not the answer. We need 2 new strikers for sure. It's Stephen Parry, but forwards are there to score regardless of who scores.
Where did we get these 2 strikers from then? Because people might be looking for new strikers. Barnsley, Derby, other clubs around us. We're not just, I don't like the idea of Ipswich just going in and throwing the money in and like getting these mercenaries in. I mean, that was what was so great about Bonne, wasn't it? That he, it's come from the North Stand and all that kind of thing. But and the geography of Ipswich might not suit. Remember Keane used to say, which I thought was a bit of a lame excuse, he used to say, oh God, but it's out on the East Coast, no one wants to come here. I mean, there might be players that we look at and they think, no, I don't want to go to East Anglia. I want to go stay in the Midlands or whatever.
Well, that's when you do pay a premium, though, isn't it? You pay an East Anglian premium, a 10% surcharge almost for living in a great part of the world.
We can maybe afford that, do you know what I mean? And it's got to be the right kind of characters. And then we know with Ashton and McKenna that there's so much data going into all these things that it's probably on this the dashboard that hopefully you'll see over the summer at some point, mine.
I'm making it my mission. I'm coming for the dashboard, Ashton.
Yeah,
I'm making it my mission.
Yeah. I don't think it's easy. Well, I mean, I don't think it's that easy to say that they'll just automatically come here.
If you don't want money to talk, you need the selling pattern. The pattern of sale needs to be really good from McKenna, Ashton, Rolls, and who else is involved in talking to agents, to players, to chairmen, because agents aren't stupid, players aren't stupid. If you've seen a club play, like yesterday in the chat before today's show, we're talking, is it 2 up front? Was it 1 up front? Was it 3? Was it this? Well, agents, players, etc. They know this information. So if you know this is a club targeting 2 or 3 strikers, you're going to look after your interest, which is your player, and you're going to say, well, you need to look after us a little bit better because there's no guarantees in being the number 1 striker. Players aren't stupid. Yes. They want to play football.
Absolutely. This is why I never get this argument, why people are so sold in on Selena. Oh, I don't say Selena. Well, he's never committed to it. He's been alone the entire time, and no one is bigger than the club. No one is bigger than the club.
Isn't that circumstance, though, more than the player?
Well, I don't know. Who knows what goes on behind?
Well, the circumstance being we were tight as we had long pockets and short arms under the previous regime.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
And then we are where we are under.
Players are what I was going to make is players are just just ships in the night when it comes forward. We are there for the long haul. Everyone here, you put your money into the club. Players take the money out of the club. It's their wage. We're always going to be there. So I never try and get too attached to players. When I was a little kid, I did obviously John Walker and all that, and Martin with Matt Howland when he left, and he wouldn't come out of your bedroom and all that kind of thing. We've just got to get in the right characters, I think. We've got to get in these right characters that McKenna and Ashton do identify. Absolutely. But don't get too hung up on the players. No one is bigger than the club, absolutely. They're here to make a living, not to make it great.
One man's coin is his own business, as they say. But
yeah,
I'm more concerned with when we say, we need 2 or 3 strikers. Well, that's when you get the drop off in quality normally, because you get the outstanding number 1.
Yeah.
But then the 2 and the 3 are usually up and coming players like Joe Pigott. 1 great year. Is he ascending? Let's bring him in, because they know I'm not coming to be the one. I'm coming to compete to be the one, but there's no guarantee. And they're happy for that because they're normally leaving an AFC Wimbledon to come to a bigger club. You're not going to get, in my opinion, if the system is the system, unless the pattern is right or they explain we're going to be a 2 up front system. I don't think you're going to get 2 outstanding quality striker. I don't see it.
No, it's like I always remember when what's his face? Nathan Tyson, who was the Earnshaw, Tyson and Earnshaw at Forest. They were 2 outstanding strikers. I used to think we should sign those 2 when they were there. So kind of pushing promotion with Nottingham Forest. It's difficult when if we do carry on playing 1 up front. What was the thoughts on yesterday then? Did everyone think Norwood was on the left-hand side, but at moments doing that sort of diagonal to partner Pigott?
I've looked at his. Well, I thought it was 2 up top. When we had the little conversation pre-show in the chat, it was 3, maybe 2 with the 1. Going by his heat map, he played predominantly in the middle with sprinkles of right more than left, but both sides. Modern football is so flexible that in possession it can be one thing, and out of possession it can be another. Transition it can be one thing. But what I would say is our transition is not quick enough, home or away. We need to start moving that ball like it's a hot potato, and we want to get it somewhere quick because we are so
Gillingham, didn't we? We did that against Gillingham away, which was McKenna's first game in charge. Not right in thinking, because it was cancelled, wasn't it?
No, Wickham was his first game, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, so the second game, his first away game. That's the only time we've really seen that, and we had that extended period, didn't we, where the Boxing Day game had been cancelled, or one of the games had been cancelled. He had more time on the grass with them all. I mean, has he got, like we said last week, has he really got a magic wand? Is he going to be able to turn this around in between May and the start of the season on July the 30th.
Why not?
Whatever it is.
Why not? Why
I
not?
hope so.
Wigan were relegation last year.
I mean, absolutely. That's probably one of the, I was thinking, really, where did he go wrong for this season? And I know Mike and me have mentioned this on the show before, Mike the Fisherman. Cook never got Liam Richardson, did he? I think we always felt he would come to Portman Road, didn't he? And you can, with good reason, you can see now what maybe was the brains of the outfit compared to who's top of the table and all that. But I don't know.
We've upset Steve Bailey.
Oh, have we?
Yeah, he's left an angry Facebook emoji.
Oh no,
Steve, what have we done? It's not our fault we can't hold a lead. We're not responsible, Steve.
We're just having a chat, Steve. We're just having a chat.
Link incoming in about 30 seconds time. Are we as good as some people are billing us as, or are we as bad as others claim? Jackson and Aston, are they the answer? Morsey, our attacking goal scoring midfielder, which is where we're going to come to now. I've got to drop the link. Where do you see Morsey? Because there was a little bit of chatter on the post-game show last night. In the summer, are you looking to bring in a midfield player to allow Morsey to be the role he's playing currently? Or are you looking to bring a midfield player in that is a box-to-box goal-scoring midfielder in the Tommy Miller-esque to allow Morsey back to what he was before he got changed? Because currently, I'll start, personally, I'm not seeing enough from Sam Morsey in the role he's playing. Can he get 8 goals next year? I don't know.
I don't know. That's an interesting one, that.
It's in you or not.
I do feel like he is box to box, but not in the traditional kind of sprinting box to box. I mean, he's not got a lot of pace mauls, has he? But he does get back. He's more of a lumbering style of athlete, isn't he? And he gets stuck in.
Morsey.
But he does float around the opposition D, doesn't he? And he has, as we saw in the game against Wigan, he was there on the spot to score, to make it 2-1. I do feel like actually in that role he probably would get you your 8 goals. Yeah, I do feel like that. If we're going to carry on playing this kind of like hybrid of like a 3-4-3 or whatever it might be, with 3-5-2, it's probably 3-4-3, isn't it? I mean, the role Backinson is playing is allowing Morsey to get forward. Now you're not going to get many goals from the holder, are you? In terms of Backinson, I mean, we've got one maybe. I think he got against Donny. And then you've got the question of where does Evans fit into this? Because you would have thought he would be a starting midfielder once back and fit. I don't know. It's an interesting one, really. I mean, look, he got a bloody hat-trick in one game. Evans, didn't he? Unbelievable.
Yeah, he did.
I don't know. I don't know where that midfield sits next season. I do feel like maybe once McKenna maybe does get in the personnel he wants, there could be some kind of formation change. I know you're saying that, tactics takes a back seat a little bit in terms of principles and moving the ball and all that kind of thing. But, maybe it will be certainly the 3 works at the back, doesn't it? That seems pretty solid to me. And you can still have wing backs with the 5. So, I mean, that could change there. 3-5-2 maybe.
Well, the back 3 has to change. If you're going to keep the 3 at the back, that has to change. And maybe we'll cover that tomorrow night's show. But I don't think Burgess at left centre back works if you want to play a 3. I think you need something more advanced. I'll go into that maybe a bit tomorrow. But with Morsey,
well, you'd have Edmondson, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you need somebody. You need people who can progress past the halfway line, can get involved. Because, like yesterday, for example, no disrespect, do you need 3 centre halves? Probably not. So one can go and be a midfield player, and that's what you see from Luke Wolfenden from time to time, stepping forward, being involved in the play. Don't be scared. Like a Sol Campbell, 98, 99 for England. Go into midfield. Don't be scared. You've got the ability with the ball, particularly at this level. Go and play. Go and get involved. Go and dictate. Go and have fun. It's League One, and prove you're a cut above if you are. But Morsey, great captain. I'm going to disagree with Budgie in the chat there. Sets the culture, sets the tone, is the leader, is the warrior. He plays in my team every single week. Every single week. There isn't a game I want to play without Sam Morsey. But it's about getting the best out of Sam Morsey. And I don't know, Stephen, if that's the box-to-box goal-scoring role or if that's the sit-and-protect role. Where do you see the Morsey?
I think he's got a box-to-box player in him. At the end of the day, I think a lot of it depends on who plays with him. I had a disagreement with Mike yesterday. I still think Backinson played well yesterday. People can disagree with that, but he seemed to be the only one who wanted to try and make forward runs and forward passes. Everybody else didn't. And for me, you're not going to score unless you're trying to get the ball forward. Now, I'm not suggesting that we sign him to be the man with Morsey. And I'm not suggesting Evans is the man with Morsey. But Those two as backups, I'd be happy with. If we had Backinson, Evans, Morsey, and another for those two positions, because we've got to remember, we can't just pick an 11 because we're not going to have an 11 all season. Morsey's going to get suspended, other players are going to get injured. So we need backups as well. Now, Backinson as a backup, I'd be quite comfortable with that. And I think he'd come as a backup. Yeah, because Bristol City don't want him. They've made that perfectly clear. And I think he offers something, and we've got to, everybody was saying, well, why didn't we go for that guy from Fleetwood or whatever? He didn't want to come. He wanted to be the Morsey. And we already had that. That's why he went to Sunderland and he's playing first team football, because we weren't offering him first team football. And we've got to realise that. Yeah, we need 4 or 5 players. We need probably 2 strikers, which I've said all along. McKenna doesn't like any of them. That's why he's been rotating them all the bloody time. He's never had a settled formation. Barron Jackson, he's never had a settled striker because he's not convinced on any of them. And realistically, yesterday just proved that point to me. It proved it to him as well. You had Piggott unmarked 18 yards out and the ball goes 20 yards over the bar. Get a grip. And we're paying 10 grand a week for that. Come on. That's ridiculous. At least miss. Don't put it 20 yards over the bar. You're only 18 yards out. You're not exactly being challenged by anyone. That just goes to show to me he's not good enough. Yeah? Norwood. Maybe he was on the left and that's not his position. If that's where he wants him to play, he's not right for us. At the end of the day, Chaplin on the right, I'd be happy with that. I'd even be happy with Selina on the left. Yeah? And a striker in the middle, who we don't know about yet. That's where I think we're going to go. We're going to need probably 4 or 5 players, probably 2 strikers, a main one and a backup. We're probably going to, with Jackson as well, we're probably going to need maybe another attacking midfielder if we play one. We're definitely going to need another centre midfielder and a left wing back. So we're probably looking at about 4 or 5 quality players and then probably another 2 or 3 as backups who are not going to be the first choice. We've still got some, I agree. The likes of Edwards, he's a possibility to put back up on the left or the right. KVY possibly made himself come in as backup to Burns, possibly, But those backups are just as important as those first 11, because as we saw yesterday, as we saw this season, when we lose a Morsey, when we lose a Burns, when we lose, an Edmondson, not as much with Edmondson, but when we lose them, the team drops off. So the backups need to be near enough as good, if not as good as the ones what they're playing. And that's where we've not got right now. El Mazzuni come up. Oh God, I didn't even know he was on the field.
I'm going to challenge
that.
If I may.
It was anonymous.
I'm going to challenge that, if I may. We're League One. I don't think we're going to get backups as good as the first team players. And if you do, are you not just creating a bigger squad with headaches potentially for a manager?
No,
we're a League One side, Steve.
Yeah, there's a lot of chaff in this squad. Yeah, that needs to go. We don't need Dobra. We don't need Kenlock. We don't need.
Dobra's not here. Neither is Ken. They're not here at the moment. I'm thinking if you're bringing in a midfield player,
will be in a month. But give it a month, they'll be back.
But they're not going to be featuring. If Dobra can't light up Colchester United, then he ain't going to light up.
Your argument is we can't keep filling the squad up. I'm saying we're not. There's a lot of chaff.
No. If you let me come on to the point, you've got Morsey and you want to partner Morsey with a new midfield player. Yeah. Not disagreeing with that, but that leaves currently Lee Evans. Then you want to bring in Tyreek Backinson as a backup. That's 2 backups. Then you've got El Miz. You've got Humphreys, who's going to be another year in his progression.
Humphreys is a long way.
How many backups do you want before you say, do you know what? Backinson, if it is Backinson as you want as a backup player, I like him. But right now, that resource allocation needs to go on a striker that's going to play 46 games and get me 24 goals.
Well, first off, I don't know the budget, so I don't know what resource allocation we've got. Yeah, we might have enough resource allocation for all these players. We don't know.
But do you want resources such as Lee Evans and Backinson sitting on the bench?
You're turning around and throwing El Miz into the equation. El Miz to me doesn't play anywhere, shape or form.
Well, in an ideal world, Steve, he doesn't play next year, but he's got to be there as a depth piece. You've signed him for a 3-year contract. Why?
We'll get rid of him.
Why? What's he done in any game that is?
I'm giving you a proposal now. Yeah. What does he offer? He came on that field.
What has he done wrong in those games he's played? What has he done wrong?
He came on for KVY. It was bloody anonymous. Absolutely
well, he played out of
anonymous.
position.
So I'm sorry. He's a player. You come on you make the effort. Yeah. You don't have such a drop off from KVY to El Miz. That's what it was. It was a massive drop off in performance from one player to another. Now you can argue that was Kieran's fault by bringing him on, but El Miz KVY had just come back from injury. It was probably a pre-programmed thing. But the point is, it shows the gap of difference. You know, if that was Burns for KVY, it wouldn't have been a drop-off. But it wasn't. It was KVY for El Miz. Maybe you can say, oh, he's playing out of position. Well, he's not going to get in his position. So what is the point? You know, his position, what is his position? I don't even know. He started off at this club as a right-back.
In an ideal world, how many games is your backup playing next year? That's the point I'm making. A Tyrone Ferguson and Lee Evans.
In an ideal world, none. In an ideal world, none, because that means your main player's playing. But the point is, I'm trying to make the point.
So it's irrelevant.
Backinson as a backup is better than what we've got as backup.
I disagree.
What, you're saying Backinson's worse than El Miz?
No, I'm saying that is it resource allocation at its best? That's what I'm asking. That's what I'm asking, because I think some fans live in a world of we're going to get 400 injuries, so we need all-star backups.
You sound to me like you're going back to this back to the Marcus Evans days. You know, oh, we've only got £6.50. Let's buy that. No, I'm not going there. I'm going. These people have turned around to us and said, "We've got the money. We've got the offering. We'll give you what you want." Right? All right. This is what we want. Do it. I'm not sitting there and saying, let's just buy this player because then we don't need to invest everywhere else. We've got lots of problems. We've got a left wing back problem. We've got a central midfield problem. We've got an attacking midfield problem if we play one. We've got striker problems. At the end of the day, we have got more problems than people actually work out. We've got backup problems because our backup are bloody poor. You know, anybody can turn around to me and say, that's like turning around and saying, like, Clements can be a backup. Fair enough. He's a player. He could be a backup. He's crap. So's Kenlock. He's crap. You know, so's Dobber. He's crap. Get rid of them. Why do we have all these players who do nothing, offer nothing, and when they come on, pretend like the players and they're not, and then we end up, 11th, 12th, 10th, 9th? That is not ambition. Ambition is saying, look, we get the best players we can get, regardless of how much it costs. That's what we were promised. Well, do it then. And you go out, get the best players we can, and we may do. I'm not saying we won't. I think we're going to have a better summer and more quality players than what people actually realise we're going for. You know, you're getting people saying, oh, we'll get Brannigan. And I don't want Brannigan. He's not good enough for my mind. He's had three good games where he got most of his goals and everyone thinks he's a star. Get a grip. He scored most of his goals in 3 games. 4 of them were penalties. Come on. You know.
Cameron Brannigan, who has 2.6 shots per game.
Yeah, but he scored most of them goals in 3 games. 4 of them in 1 game. And they were penalties. You know, come on. Do we want a little bit more? If you had that or Twine, who would you have?
That's irrelevant because Twine's going to play in the championship, whether he's with MK Dons or something.
That's an assumption. You don't know that.
True.
I'll put money on it. Let's do all right. Charity bet. Tell us Scott Twine plays in the championship next year for whoever.
No, that's an unfair bet. I'm just saying you're not guaranteed Premier. You know, at the end of the day, top 6 at Championship will be looking at Premier League. They won't be looking at League One. Yeah, you're probably talking bottom end of Championship. How many of them have got money? Not many. At the top end, I'd say probably Wigan's the only team who's probably going to go in for him if MK Dons don't go up. If MK Dons, I think they go up. I think they've got a chance of keeping him, to be honest. You know, it's not all cut as dry as people might make out. You know, I don't think. It all depends on what people need. Yeah? And if people need that sort of player, you know, if you've got like 2 or 3 strikers scoring 20 goals, Fulham's not going to go for bloody Scott Twine. They've got Mitrovic, for God's sake. You know, it all depends on what you need. It really does depend on what you need. If you've got a player in that position who's scoring goals, as you would say, you're not going to waste your resources on a player you've already got. You know, we haven't got those players. So there might be, it's a very small percentage chance, I agree, there might be, that moment in time where everybody who's capable of getting him don't want him. The only ones who do want him can't afford him. And that opens the door for somebody else who maybe similar to what Crooks was this season. Everybody knows Crooks would have come to us. It was just bloody Rotherham putting out, oh, well, there's a championship, until eventually a championship club came in and bid for him. Until then, he was probably going to come to us. And everybody knew that. It was Paul Ward going out, oh, well, a championship wants him. And then finally one did. You know what I mean? So I think that's probably where it's going to end up.
It was geography on Crooks, wasn't it? Because he could stay in the same house and play for Middlesbrough.
Yeah. Well, I think the fact if the championship club, if Middlesbrough hadn't a bid, we'd have got him.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because the top and bottom of it is, that's why Paul Wall was so. It was you saw it every week in the press, in the Rotherham press. Championship bid coming in for Crooks. They were desperate to sell him to a championship club. I reckon even the offer. I reckon Middlesbrough probably played less than we offered. I reckon they sold him to Middlesbrough for less than we offered. But I think we've got a lot to look forward to.
Absolutely.
One thing I want to make about yesterday, is I think that had a very pre-season feel to the game. A very pre-season. It really did look like a friendly to me. Yeah. I think, and this is the point I picked up. I think we was already battered. When we lost to Oxford, the players were so up for it when we scored against Oxford. And when we conceded that goal, that must have been a real punch in the stomach. Yeah. We came back, then we beat Plymouth, and we didn't gain any points on anyone for a win against Plymouth. And then we lost to Cambridge. I think that's where mentally the players lost it. Them 3 games, not beating Oxford, not gaining points against Plymouth when we beat Plymouth, and losing to Cambridge. I think mentally that's where the team lost it. And we need a good result on Saturday, just to try and get some of that mentality back.
Okay, perfect. As always, incredibly passionate, incredibly well articulated.
Cheers, guys.
Look after yourself.
Cheers,
Matt, you're quiet through that. Where are you on it? Stephen.
Steve spoke for so long, it meant I could cough and sneeze and do all
I
that
did
kind of
notice
stuff.
you kept going on mute. So Stephen, I'm not agreeing with Steve, but I'm not saying he's totally wrong either. He's in that fan for me. We want all the best players playing for Ipswich Town Football Club or sitting on our bench. I was just going with it's luxury items at a time when he then lists off we need a left wing back, a centre midfield player, maybe 2 centre forwards. So do you need Packinson and Evans as both sitting on the bench?
Well, I would say one or the other would be the partner to would be the one to Moulsey. I would have thought. I mean, Steve made some good points there. I mean, they look. We haven't scored enough goals. We've got no real good attacking threat down the left. So I mean, I agree with him there. Absolutely, they are positions we need to be looking at.
Absolutely.
And I agree with his point. Maybe the era of El Mizuni and Dobra and all those guys. Maybe that's gone now. I mean, in fact, I was just looking at our bench yesterday. So we had that Nick Hayes goalkeeper, didn't we? There, Elkan Baggett, Cameron Humphreys, Mizuni got some game time, Selena Bon, and this Tawanda Chirewa. Is that how you say it?
But you just said the era of those players have gone, so they may as well we may just release those.
In terms of these lads here, they're now the new bright lights, aren't they? That are coming through the academy. Dobra and El Mizuni haven't really been able to stand up for us. I mean, like you just made a great point yourself. George Colchester can't get in the team.
Dobra, yeah.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So why would he be any good for Town in a what we hope is going to be a top 6 finish next season?
But what has El Miz ever done wrong while wearing a blue and white shirt?
Agreed. But what's he ever really done that's made you sort of sit up and we got goal against Oldham, I suppose?
No, forget the goal. It's more he's played even away at Hillsborough, had a bad half hour, but he came through it and was looking stronger than when he started when he went off. He's a young player.
He's a young player.
If you're saying the era of those players have gone, you are saying the era of an academy has gone, and we now are just predominantly featuring on getting every best player we possibly can, hell or high water. We still have an SCMP protocol. There are ways around that, of course. And I'm not saying I would be against our squad being filled with 22 All-Stars next year. But that's not likely.
Galacticos.
Well, that's likely, though, is it?
The window felt like in the summer, didn't it? Last summer. What I'm saying is these lads here, what are they? Cameron Humphreys, Baggett. They're teenagers, right? And Chihuahua. teenagers. Your Dobra and Mizuni are what? Early 20s now? 20, 21, 22? So this is the school behind them, isn't it? This is the class behind them, effectively. Yeah. I just feel like the shine's gone on them. Unfortunately for them, they might have been the right players at the wrong time. You know, they've come when the Marcus Evans era, Lambert, Paul Hurst, all that kind of stuff. Paul Kirk, and they've not been rated by any of them particularly.
I mean, he's played 5 games this year. Started 3.
Well, does that speak volumes?
No, played 5 games, started 3. He's got 88% pass completion rate. Like, he's a young player. I'm not sitting here saying Elm is going to be the leading player with Morsey. I'm saying if you've got Evans on the bench and then the backup to the backup is Elmiz and then the backup to the backup is Humphreys, why are we wasting anything on an additional backup? I want a centre forward or a left wing back that can contribute.
Yeah, no, I get that as well. I just feel like probably El Mizuni's what? So the lads in the comments here are saying he's 21. There's a lot of 21-year-olds playing League One football, playing 40-odd games a season, and he's playing 5 for Town. So I think to me that speaks volumes. I think one of them games was against Barrow, was it not?
And not forget Player of the Year. Raheem Harper still to come back as well.
Maybe.
Big man, strong man, Raheem. Love a bit of Raheem. Mike, you're shaking your head quite a lot in that.
Mike, how you doing?
Come on in. What are you thinking?
Hey, boys, all right?
All right, yeah, good.
I'm not. I'm just fed up of hearing excuses for why players ain't playing or performing or doing this. I want to start at the back. Okay, we've got a good goalkeeper in Walton.
Hold up. Your line's not very good. Come back in and I'll put you straight back on. But your line's not good. I don't want to hear crackles in my headphones.
A little bit of interference there, Mike, didn't they?
There was. It's probably one of his kids playing the Xbox again, Matt. Do you know what I mean? But I can hear
the pink headphones.
The pink headphones. But I can hear people on the tube or on the train or going to work in their cars, and just got to look after their ears. Crackly says Ipswich Jules. Yeah, Crackly Mike. That's what we should call him. The good doctor. I think Elmiz has that tenacity, closes down your. Don't forget, Elmiz. This is turning into an Elmiz. But don't forget, this is a player out on loan at Cambridge. Everyone was saying he should be in the squad, and then suddenly he plays 5 games, doesn't set the world alight, and people are going.
It was League 2 Cambridge, am I right?
Nearest taxi. We've got to calm ourselves and say he's a young player, played 5 games. Let's not write him off before we anoint him either. Let's just be level.
I mean, yeah, no, I do get that. You don't want to be writing off youngsters particularly, but I mean, look at Jack Lancaster. He departed in the summer and went to Cambridge, and I don't know if he's had a good season there. People seem to like him.
Injury,
played James Park in the FA Cup, didn't he, against Newcastle, and get a goal disallowed in that match. Maybe it just would suit Dobra to go off somewhere else. Maybe it would suit him. I mean, I never agreed that Dobra loan to Colchester in the first place, but it was ludicrous. You've now gone on loan to everyone that Cook had got rid of.
18 games, 7 starts. He's had 37 minutes per game, 1 goal, 1 assist. Is that a good year for Jack Lancaster, do you think?
No,
it's not setting the world alight. But
no, it's not. I mean, he's had lots of issues himself, hasn't he, in terms of, did he factor his back twice or something?
Yeah. But again, he's only 22. These players are young. We're quick to say 21, 22. Oh, well, he's not Michael Owen of 1998. So, out you go.
I think with McKenna's background and his coaching development and all that kind of thing of working with youth teams at Spurs and United, if they do come back in the summer and they do get a pre-season, he will look at them and know straight away whether or not they're going to contribute, any of those young kids.
Absolutely. A few comments done to Dr. James Reed. Question is, will Burns and Moore be at the club next season? Can't see a reason why not. I can't see why not.
Well, I'm still on this thing that I do feel like, I call them fan favourites, might be sacrificed to make signings. Again, that's what I'm saying. Don't kind of like get all in on these players because not one player is bigger than the club. But yeah, from a personal point of view, I would love Morsey and Burns to be here next season because I do feel like they're the catalysts for this club. Absolutely, in terms of leadership from Morsey, in tackling endeavour on goals from Burns. I mean, you say yourself, Mike, he joined with very little fanfare, didn't he, when he was the first of the 19. But we were quite excited, in our little WhatsApp that he had signed, purely because people have been saying good things about him at Fleetwood. And the proof's been in the pudding. He's been decent.
Yeah, well, it was one of the quieter transfer specials we did. We'll be doing those again this summer. The only good thing we could really pull out at the time about Wesley Burns was the way he completely pulled Mark McGuinness's pants down and taught him how football should be played. And then Mick McCarthy, in his wisdom, put that same player as a wing back at Cardiff.
Yeah. I got Mick thinking now.
I
He's disappeared off the radar, hasn't he, Mick?
Well, no, that's fine. He can stay off the radar. It was in. Sorry, Mike. It was in yesterday's chat. That's where he was. Mike, welcome back.
You're back. How you sounding?
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
we
perfect.
can. Fire away.
It could have been my headphones playing up.
Fire away. Fire away.
Go for it.
No, I am pissed off because I'm just fed up of fans making excuses for players. Right. I want to start at the back. I wasn't a great fan of Bolton when we signed him because obviously what happened at Bolton and there was a few, but he's proved to be a great signing. The thing is with the club at the back, at the back, we have got good balance. We've got, through the 3 centre backs we've got, and obviously the 4 centre backs we've got. There's a foundation there, isn't there? We haven't exactly been leaking goals like a burst pipe like we were under Cook. Okay, so then let's go on to our wing backs, right? Now, right, people slated Kenlock, right? He's got 3 goals and 1 assist, which is more than Penny and Thompson has got all season.
Has Penny ever played League 2 football?
Right, now hang on, right? Kenlock can cross the ball because I've seen it many times, right? And we slate, and there was many fans slated him. Oh, he's not good enough, not good enough. Really? Is he any worse than what we've had? Because quite frankly, I haven't seen anything from the 2 so-called wonder kids that have played on our left side. Yeah, and then the other thing is as well, Burgess, good centre back, but he is not the same type of player as the Don on the other side. Okay, he played right back, the Don, and now he's playing a centre back, getting forward as a right back. You ask him, no disrespect, but you can't unless you get a left back that can play as a left centre back like we have with the Nassian. Then you're not going to get the same style of play on the left hand side as you are on the right hand side.
No,
right? Morsey, right? Everybody's going, oh, he needs to get forward. Hang on a minute. He's played all of his career as a defensive midfielder. So why now, all of a sudden, are we asking him to get forward?
Well, not his whole career, because he did start...
No. During his successful time, he's played as a defensive midfielder. So why are we asking him suddenly now to go out and score 8 goals, 9 goals a season?
Well, that's a very good question. And that the answer could lie in what we do in the summer, because from what I can ascertain from hearing Morsey speak, he started his career in that role. McKenna came in, saw some traits that he felt could be utilised at his current time. He was asked to do it. He's done it. We could well see in the summer somebody being brought in and then Morsey back to that more enforcer role.
Play him at their strengths. Play players at their strengths. Right, Norwood wide left. He was more of a wide left forward yesterday. Again, how many times? I mean, look, Kieran McKenna has not won a game in 8, and that ain't good enough. I know it's not his players, but that ain't good enough. Pretty football and not points on the board is not getting us promotion. And it was great to go Tuesday night and get. Look, I felt we should have won that. We were unlucky for Wigan to score that late goal. But they've got a player who's chasing everything down, who's scored loads of goals and stayed fit for them. What do we have? Right, we have Piggott. Okay, so we got Piggott, right, who scored 20 goals last season. I'm struggling to see how he done that last season compared to what I've seen him this season. Okay, so he's had personal issue, right? He's lost his dad, right? And that is a horrible thing because I've lost my mum recently. So I know what that feels like. But my driving force from that is to do better in life. Do better. Go out there and try it. Be more hungry. Be more slow. Jake, my boy Jake, went out literally after my mum passed away, and he went out and he played his socks off because that was a driving force. My son Daniel went out and done exactly the same. Scored a goal and celebrated and pointed to the sky. That is your driving force. If you lose something, you've got to. That's the mentality. And what we have is this FA fashionable football that's filtered down from the Premier League, from the national team to the Premier League, right the way through the leagues now, where we're playing out from the back, right? and I see a stat. Couldn't find it now. I see a stat yesterday afternoon, right, during the half time, where more goals are conceded now because of this playing out of the back than any time in football. That's all very well if you can play out the back and you've got the players that can play out from the back. But if you don't and you can't, why are you bloody doing it? It makes no sense whatsoever. And we're asking to play pretty nice football against teams like in League One and in non-league and Barrow, places like Barrow. And even the Premier League teams are struggling against these low league sides because they're trying to play pretty football against rough and tumble, tough, rigorous sides that, quite frankly, they don't give a shit about pretty football. They just want to win the game. And they come up short. They struggle against it. You know, we look at players like people sitting there saying, oh, we should sign Selena. He had one good season at the club and suddenly everybody wants to sign him. He's just another Teddy Bishop.
What?
He is, absolutely. He's had one. What's he done since he left Ipswich?
Who?
What's he done? Tell me what he's done.
Who?
Because he went abroad, got loaned out. Went another club, got loaned out. He's only ever been a loan player for us. He's done nothing, Martin. Absolutely nothing. I'm sorry. For a player that the wages that he's on, he should be producing a lot more than what he has.
Yeah, I agree with that. I've always said that.
Right? And quite frankly, we are in League One. And we need to realise that. We are in League One. We're not a Championship side. We're not a Premier League side. We are struggling to get the points that we got last season, let alone...
Mike, give me a midfield player you'd sign instead of Selena.
What, Scott Twine?
You're not... Give me a...
You asked me, I'm giving you the answer.
That's fine. Give me a realistic player that you're going to sign that's not Bursa.
I think that's realistic.
Scott Twine.
All right.
Why is it wrong?
He's a League One player right now.
Brennan.
Okay, Brannigan. That's fine. I can go with Brannigan.
Okay. Why can't we get Scott Twine? Why can't we? Just because people are saying he's going to the Championship. So what? What's wrong with us going for him? We've got the money, we've got the wages, we have the foundations now. We are still look, this season, we've only literally, it's like someone has just bought, the owners have come into this club and they've brought a shell. Okay? And it's like like us fans buying a house, just a shell. We are having to build the club from the bottom upwards again because Evans destroyed it. We know it. Okay? His infrastructure, the way it worked, everything has been on a low league. Look, we all were getting on the bandwagon and we're going to get well, we're going to do well, we're going to get promoted, we're going to HMS piss the league. The reality is we're not, and we haven't. We struggled to get 11th. And we were sitting there going, oh, you know, Colin, I love him. We're going to win all the games. We're going to scrape into the playoffs. At one point there was a chance and we should have got them. Reality is we didn't. And there's players here that are just not good enough. Joe Pigott, for me, not good enough. Yeah, yesterday it was like watching a cow run around running around a field. It really was. It was embarrassing. And for a player that should be going out there and working his socks off and, you know, to me, it just doesn't make sense. And playing Norwood wide left. You know, Kieran McKenna's got a plan A, and I love the fact that he's come in and he's brought some enthusiasm. But one win in 8 games, we've got to question that, surely.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not. That's not me saying we need to get rid of him. He's got the summer. He's got to come in. He's got to start. He's got to get rid of a lot of these so-called. I'd get rid of all the low knees. Not one of them has really proven their worth here, to be brutally honest. And then you get rid of low knees, and then you get rid of Elmis and a few of these other Dobras ain't good enough.
Mike, Bursan Selena, okay? Bursan has scored 6 goals. He's got 5 assists. He's got 1.7 key passes and 12 big chances created, okay? Sammy Skamodics in the year with Peterborough in League One had 5 big chances and 1 key pass, 6 assists. You had Cameron Brannigan this year, 3 big chances, 1.5 key passes, 3 assists. Scott Twine leads the lead. I mean, this is why I'd be a Championship player. Scott Twine, 16 goals, 13 assists, 2.4 key passes, 17 big chances created. He outshines literally even Sammy Skamodics last year for Peterborough in League One. But that's why I don't think you'll get Scott Twine. The other 3, mind you, of course, including Selena. Selena isn't as bad as people paint him. He hasn't been ideal. He hasn't won the games he perhaps should have. We wanted him to win for the football club. I've been guilty of saying that myself. But when I ask people, who would you have? Brannigan. Well, he beats Brannigan except for goals. Now, I don't know much about Brannigan, but is he a penalty taker? Is he a free kick taker? I don't know. I can't answer that. Those aren't answers I know. But he's not as bad as like Teddy Bishop. Come on. Teddy Bishop?
Tell me what he's done. He had one good season here. One really good season here, and everybody was like, oh, wonderful. Even me. But what's he done?
6 goals, 5 assists, 12 big chances created.
He spends most of his time on the pitch getting frustrated. Maybe some fans are right. Maybe he's more suited to the Championship. Maybe he's more suited to the Premier League. But quite frankly, he's not suited to League One. And that push would have got him sent off in the Championship.
Oh,
yeah.
Well,
No. If we were looking at winning, if that was the last game of the season, and we were looking to get in the playoffs, right, and he pushed that player and got sent off, and that cost us the playoffs, would every one of us on here still want to sign him for next season?
Yeah.
If he ran out, Will should be a BMX.
It'd be like Beckham.
It doesn't matter about it's about the fact side of it, isn't it? We talk about opinions, and we all have opinions.
Stephen Parry didn't have a pre-season and had myocarditis. I think I said that right this season.
Well,
they're facts.
That's again. This is why I'm pissed off.
No, they're facts. They're facts.
Well, okay, yeah, but there's no reason why, other than, you know, he started off, and like you said, he had that situation, but there's still no reason for some of the performances he's put in. They really haven't been great. Backinson hasn't been great. Even Morsey's had a few shockers. Now, I like Morsey, but I don't like him. I like him. I want him to play in his natural role where he can really lead. I don't want the pressure on Morsey other than the fact that he can just turn round and start. I mean, quite frankly, you know, there's some of these players, Backinson for me, right, gave the ball away so many times yesterday, and people want to sign him. Are you joking? I just find it staggering.
Yeah, he's not played great.
You know, and people hammered me and said about getting 7 or 8 players in. Oh, we don't need all that. Well, hang on a minute. Even Steve said earlier, well, we need 5 players in and maybe 2 others. Well, that's 7.
Yes, you're 7.
Yeah. You had that. You know, we need to get rid of so much crap that Cook brought in.
Yeah.
And the loanees, and we need to build on the foundation that we've got with our back line and with our midfielders. We've got 2 good midfielders in Evans and Morsey. They are very good. They are good. I know Evans has had a sort of a rough start to the season, but that could have been the way Cook set them up. We don't know. But for me, Kieran McKenna's got the summer. We've got to bring in some, not necessarily what I call championship, high championship, or, you know, type play. We've got to bring in hardened, fought League One players that know this system.
I just want to challenge that before you go, because I get what you're saying, and I'm not saying you're wrong. But then this time last year, you maybe with that train of thought would have chosen a Bersant Selena over a Scott Twine. So with that train of thought, are you at risk
on what we've seen before, isn't it? We've gone on what we've seen before.
That's what I'm saying. With that train of thought of we need to get, you know, championship player, are you possibly going to miss out on an up and coming Scott Twine 2.0 because he's not had the championship CV yet?
But we do need what I call players that know this league, and quite frankly, the players that we have had clearly don't know this league, because the way they play and the way they I mean, some of them can't even pass a fucking ball, for Christ's sake. You know, I mean, that is basic 101 football, isn't it? Let's pass to a teammate. Oh, my mate, we play in blue, so I need to pass to a blue player. I mean, Christ alive, that is 5-year-old stuff, training pitch stuff. That really is, and they're not even doing it. You know, and that is the thing I'm getting really frustrated with. You know, yesterday there was simple passes, and then and they weren't being done. They're trying these Hollywood passes all the time. Just make it simple and get the ball forward quicker. You know?
All right.
Oh my days!
I've got
It
Neil
really
waiting.
isn't that
I've got Neil Perks waiting. I want to bring Neil in. Mike, we love you. Look
You
after
are,
yourself.
Mike.
Speak to you soon. Ipswich Jules, the low goals conceded
Right.
and possession we have of the ball, just we can play out from the back successfully. If McKenna chooses to play out from the back moving forward, it makes sense. He's getting them to do it now. Some can do it and some can't, but he's certainly able to see who can't. So you can now assess it. Says Lewis, who also wanted Sammy's commodics next year. Craig, rubbish comparing Selena to Bishop. I didn't like
It's
that.
a question for everybody because Selena broke through right at the end yesterday, didn't they? And got fouled on the edge of the area. And I was up. Pen. It was in the D, wasn't it? Did anyone actually think Selena, when he was over the ball, was going to score?
No, only Alex Maffey.
Yeah. But that's why you pay the big bucks, isn't it? For those game-changing moments. And what did he do? For his 20 grand a week, he bunged it into the wall. So
Agreed.
The answer.
And I've said that myself, but equally, stats don't lie, and his stats are pretty good.
It's again though, it's the context of them stats, isn't it? Was it just an assist in a defeat? Was it an assist for a game-winning goal? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
There needs to be a bit more context around some of these.
I said last week, the problem with Selena is he's not just on a different chapter or a book. He's read the whole library compared to most of this team. Do you know what I mean? He's so far on a different track.
Well, yeah. I just feel like he's probably not going to be the answer for us. But it was interesting. I do think Twine's realistic. Okay, he's a League One player right now, so he's realistic.
He's not realistic.
What's more realistic is that he will go to Swansea, where what's his name? Who's the Swansea gaffer? No, the Swansea gaffer, Russell Martin. He bought it where he got him on a free from Swindon, and I would imagine he'd probably go there. But we should. Why weren't we in for him at?
Ask the dashboard. I plan on doing just that. The good doctor. Yeah. Selena is proper quality. We have a nightmare build-up for him to play this season. I think we have a place for him. Ipswich Jules Twine will want to be playing Championship next season and Premier League after that. He won't want to stall his career for at least another year.
I mean, Jules. I get the logic of that argument, but then wouldn't Connor Chaplin and Sammy Morsey want to be playing Championship? They come down to League One. So
you have a market for you, don't you? So Chaplin might have a market for him. I don't think Morsey at his age will.
Maybe. But Jules is talking sense, absolutely. If you're a 22-year-old lad, depends who comes in from. Like I say, I think he'll go Swansea. If you went somewhere like bloody Reading or stragglers down the bottom, you know, I'm sure we've got a bigger budget than the bottom half of the Championship. Absolutely.
Just basically go in for anybody that Peterborough highlight because they're normally pretty good at finding players that you didn't even know existed.
We might be able to get D-Mac back on the show next season.
Selena, Aluka, and a decent team with good strikers would be ideal. Selena and Chaplin, worst commentators I've seen in years. Darren Salter, I think most of these players who dropped down in Division will expect at least a top 6 finish. Again, we are looking at changing another 5 or 6 players. Are we going to be the same again next year? Callie Backerson also hustled, won the ball back well and played some great balls through. That one for Northern in the first half, any other striker, and it's a goal. Jason Clayton, the hardest part of McKenna football is playing out from the back. We have the players doing that now. Should be easier to introduce new players. The good doctor, McKenna has done well so far, getting more from players. I want to see what he does over the summer with some of the players we have already. Some great comments here.
I think Ben in the comments there actually hits the nail on the head. They're saying it is quality. We all know he's quality. It doesn't show on a consistent basis. That's the argument, isn't it? When we needed him yesterday to colour the ball in like he did at Burton that time, and everyone was having to go at McCarthy, and he just whacks it into the bleeding wall.
See, I think Craig is more on the right lines there. Get better, faster forwards for Selena, and you're going to see a better player.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, look, I'd like to see that as well, but I don't know. It just seems like it's been a bit of a waste of money this year.
I don't think, as I've said, I don't think Selena and Chaplin can play together. So for me, you choose. And right now, you choose Chaplin because he's under contract and he's an answer to a problem that you don't have to create. Whereas
he committed to us. It's under deal.
Do you know what I mean? I've always said I wouldn't play the two together. That's the issue I've got.
Yeah,
I think
they're
too similar. Neil, we love seeing Neil on the show. He's not often on. How are you?
Okay, yeah, it's been a good show, hasn't it? I haven't agreed all that was being said, to be honest. I don't agree with some of that at all, what's been said. But football's full of opinions, isn't it? I'd have to say, I don't know if it was you, Gov, that said it. I'd like to see, me and Cruncher had a couple of words on text, only a few words, about new signings. We were sort of on the same page with that. I'd like to see maybe Chaplin played up front with a 2 and maybe someone like Smodics in a number 10, I would.
Cruncher's big on that. Yeah, it's a good shout.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
He played in a more advanced role yesterday for a lot of periods. How did you feel that could be something moving forward? Obviously, you do, that you want to see more of. With Jackson, maybe.
I do think we need 2 new strikers in. I mean, obviously, I'm not a fan that can get there all the time, and I hardly watch games. Doesn't mean I don't know about my club. I followed them for 30 years through, and I've not seen masses of highs in that time. Only the playoffs in 2000 and a few other things. But I know an awful lot about my club just because I'm not there. I think Bond will. I think Bond will leave. I can't see Bond staying personally. I don't think McKenna's that keen on him, is he? I mean, he's hardly getting a look in at all now. I just can't see Bond staying. It's a toss up for Piggott, in it, as we said a few shows back, Martin, when we were talking about it then. Someone even said the same thing as me, I think a few weeks ago, about maybe loaning him out again, possibly. And what do you do with Norwood? I think 2 new strikers will come in, I think.
Yeah. Matt?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, look, the Smodic one is great. And there's a link there to Ashton at Bristol City when he was there as well. So whether or not Peterborough coming down are going to sell him to a promotion rival, that's the only thing, isn't it? Unless they get something in return, or knowing DMAC, he's going to cost us a few million. But yeah, it's a great shout. And yeah, Crunch has been on board with that Chaplin thing up front, Neil, for quite a while. So yeah, I think
I mean, we talked about, Stephen was talking about earlier, again, me and Crunch said we spoke about Brannigan. I think that'll be a good signing. I think Brannigan would be a good signing, absolutely. We spoke about Connor Grant if Plymouth didn't go up. If Edwards comes back fit, and you get Connor Grant into left back. And I've been saying this for ages here. I think a creative goal-scoring midfielder alongside Morsey. I don't think Backinson's good enough. You've got Evans. You don't. I personally think, and I said to the doctor in the chat earlier today, we've got the core of the team there. 4 or 5 new players, no more than that.
Going back to what Stephen was saying about Backinson, what do you bring him in as a backup? Are you happy with Evans, Elmis, and Humphreys being the 3 backups to Morsey and whoever? What are you doing in terms of that sort of conversation that me and the Parry were
I wouldn't keep Backinson, Gov, to be honest. You got Evans coming back, and I'd be looking for a creative goal-scoring midfielder alongside Morsey, and you got Evans. I wouldn't keep Backinson. I wouldn't keep Thompson. I wouldn't keep Penny.
Okay. Okay. Penny's a funny one though, because he's probably pound for pound the best player that we've got at putting a ball in the box.
Yeah, I mean, you're true on that point. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's got to be West Burn, surely. Maybe on the left-hand side.
When Matt Penny is on it, he puts the ball in the box like we've not seen since God knows when. It's got pace, it's got bend. It's a really tough ball for a defender to defend against, because it's a swinger. It's an in-swinger that's coming in towards you at pace. We haven't got that. West Burns, arguably, for me, his worst trait is that final delivery of ball. He's great at finishing. Maybe I'm being harsh there and wanting the more complete player from him, Neil.
Yeah, I mean the left side is just, the left side needs work, doesn't it? As you said the other week, it's so lopsided, isn't it, on the right?
Yeah,
it's so lopsided. But I agree what Mike says. Apart from really the left back, I think defensively we're very strong, aren't we? I don't think you need to look at that. Or the goalkeeper. If Edwards comes back, as I said, there's definitely a player there in Edwards, absolutely, and he's got the pace. So if you can get a decent left back in, someone alongside Morsey, 2 new strikers, I don't think you're looking at much more. You're not.
You say Edwards. Would you like to see him at left wing back next year?
I think I'd probably, if we could get someone like a Connor Grant in, or a decent left back, I'd just push him further up, just ahead of the full back. I would.
What are your thoughts on Edwards' left wing back development next year, Matt?
Well, we were discussing this on WhatsApp, everybody. So I phoned up Chris, who's had a few cameos from West Bromwich Albion, to see what he thought. And when he stopped laughing, he was like, "No, don't even think about it. Him as a left wing back." He said, "Keep him where he was before he got injured." So yeah, Connor Grant's been at Ipswich before, hasn't he? He was on loan here from Everton. So again, is someone like Plymouth going to look at selling to Ipswich though? That's the thing, isn't it?
But it's like people have said before, Matt. we've got more than enough. And I said this to my best friend who lives in Plymouth. We've got more than enough money to sign Connor Grant. That's not an issue, is it?
No, it's
You know, but
yeah.
You know, I agree with what Mike said, and also totally agree with what Gov said. We've got the money out there if we wanted to for Twine, but let's be realistic. Scott Twine is not going to sign for Ipswich Town. He's just not going to do it. No. He's not going to sign for Ipswich Town. He's going to go to the Championship. He's not going to stay in League One for another season, whether it's with MK Dons or someone else.
Yeah, he'll stay at MK, won't he, if he goes to the Championship with them? Absolutely.
The year
that's what you think.
We're 12 months. I'd be really keen to find out how he slipped through the cracks.
We'll try and find out if we can.
Because
so I mean, it would be a great signing, wouldn't it? Absolutely fantastic. You just you know, there's no doubt we've got the money. There's no doubt, you know, you just can't see it happening, can you? Really?
Craig has finally mentioned the name that normally dominates any number 10 discussion. He's baffled by half the fan base of Luco Love. If he came here for any other side, we'd say, well, just a show pony that doesn't produce anything. We'll probably discuss the Luco, I'm sure, throughout the next coming week, so we can have that comment and just let that rest there. Craig, Stephen Parry, he'll sign for those who offer. We are assuming there will be bids, but no guarantee. If you're a Championship club with any type of budget and you've not got Scott Twine on your radar, Matt, you're a little bit dim.
Yeah, I think so. It does depend though who it is, doesn't it? What kind of clubs come in? I'm pretty certain if MK Dons didn't go up, I'm pretty certain Swansea would come calling for him. But he's the kind of player that would have been perfect for Town. Whatever reason they didn't move for him, or maybe they did move for him and he didn't want to come. Who knows what discussions are had? Who knows?
Neil, before we go, final words from yourself on yesterday's performance. Final word from yourself on yesterday's performance. How did you view it? Another game we let the league go.
Yeah, I think especially over these last so many seasons now, you know, obviously I was doing some other things and I've been out and about. I caught the second half and I was listening. You know, it's obvious we need more goals. One goal's not enough. And a lot of the time, you're just sat here, and you're not trying to feel like you're not trying to be like doomsday about it. But the longer the games go on, you just think to yourself, it goes to the last 10, 15 minutes, and most of the time you're thinking, we're going to let a goal in. What happens? We just let a goal in. It just seems a pattern just keeps reoccurring all the time, and one goal is just not enough. It's just not enough.
No, totally
agreed. Neil, we love having you on. Come on again very soon, please.
Cheers, Neil.
Take care, guys.
Please, we absolutely love people like Neil who, you know, not on as often as perhaps we would like them to be, and they come on and give their view.
It's interesting that the crew commentators yesterday said that was probably Lowry's last ever goal at Gresty Road because they think he's going to be off in the summer. Midfielder could score from outside the box. 24 years old. Who knows? Maybe he could be on the dashboard.
No, what's his name? Is it Sean?
Tom Lowry.
Tom Lowry. Who's Tom Lowry? I don't know who Sean is. Let's have a look at his stats while I've got the page open. Here we go.
He might be on the dashboard after yesterday's.
Tom Lowry, 31 games, started 30, 4 goals, 4 assists, 1.5 key passes, 5 big chances. Again, that's not. Is that good enough?
And he could, if we got this argument that, you know, if you're playing with better players, your stats are going to be better, because that's what we keep hearing about, what everyone said about Dazelle and all that kind of thing. Maybe he would flourish in our team. He can certainly shoot from outside the box, which is something we definitely don't do.
Craig at Portsmouth. We need to ditch Alex Maffey too. Yeah, Brenner was kind of indicating he'd be back next year for the away for the Northern away games. Well, I think that whole presentation needs a bit of a shake-up.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's been very much the same, hasn't it? BBC Suffolk. I mean, look, BBC Suffolk's like the right kind of broadcaster for radio, isn't it? They've got the rights and everything. But yeah, probably just need a bit of a change up there, I think. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, look, you can see it on the iPhone next season, aren't you? Because they're going to have the Town TV comms team will come in. So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that will be interesting. Yeah.
Do you know who's a good commentator? Donovan of ITV Anglia. When they used to have the Football League highlights, he would do like Ipswich Norwich game or whatever. Really good. Really good.
I'm not. Look, Brennan Woolley is a good commentator in his own style and in his own way, and it doesn't necessarily have to be him that changes, and it could just be, you know, the pieces around him, you know, the color commentator and people that are the summarizers. You could do anything with that level of show. You're the BBC. You could go in any direction you wish to go in. You know, if I was in charge of the creative of that one, but I'm not. We've got literally 60 seconds. I'm going to bring Colin in, but hopefully Colin will come back tomorrow night. Is that all right?
Hi, Colin.
Yes, I am.
Good man. Tell us what we can look forward to hearing from you tomorrow night. What's on your heart?
Well, to be honest with you, Gov, having been there again yesterday, I think that was soul destroying, really, for me. Especially, it just didn't seem like as if, look, I'd never ever say players weren't trying, but the saying about, on the beach and slippers on, piping the gob, that kind of thing, it just seems so much that way. And to be honest, the most of the game, me and Matt Stannard said, it seems so much like a pre-season friendly, from minute 1 to 95, really. But I quite agree with a hell of a lot that's been said today. There's so much needs changing, not dramatically, but it's going to be very, very interesting. By the way, Gav, can I just ask you a question? Is Mark Ashton still in the States? Or is he back?
I think he's still in the States. I think. I don't know for sure.
Well,
so
that's the answer I really wanted, because I was talking to Mark Rattle on the coach coming back, and I said to him and several other people on the coach, if that was the case and he was still out in the States, obviously probably watching that game on iFollow with the guys, with the guys. That's the only thing I could say about yesterday's game, and I think a lot of people will agree with me. I said to Andy this morning, did I want Town to go better to win 3-3? Of course I did. I'm a Town fan. But at the end of the day, although I was kind of devastated with a 1-1 draw against the bottom of the table side, like I said to Andy this morning, arguably, Gov and Matt, that was probably the better result, because it told Mark, Mr. Ashton, and all the board and all the owners exactly what we really need to do. And like you said loads of times, Gavin, you're absolutely right, 100%. Papering over the cracks is not good. And look, there was no papering over the cracks yesterday. It was there for all to see. And that really, for us, I think, as big Town fans, I think was probably a good thing.
Absolutely. A wake-up call, as Ross P puts it in the chat. Colin, we will discuss what you may change in the summer tomorrow, if that's all right.
Yes, absolutely, mate. Yeah, you
Perfect.
Take care.
Enjoy your Sunday afternoon.
Cheers,
tomorrow, 8:30. The GOAT will be with me, as you've just heard, alongside Mr. George Nunn.
Good point there, Colin made there. I mean, maybe it is a case of, let's hope it's a case of, like, it feels like we're going a step backwards to go 2 forward for next season. Let's keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, I look forward to hearing what you've got to say that, because he's a fan that's seen it all up and down. Tomorrow, as well as Colin calling in, you can do so as well by clicking tomorrow's link. We've got George and Alex joining me from 8:30, the F1 show from 7:15. 2 more comments. Stephen Parry, just like when King cocked up his transfer, thinking the team was better than he thought. Mike the Fisherman, 11th in League One, struggling to reach the same point of last season with the best squad in League One. Says everything I need to know this season. Any plans the rest of the day, Matthew?
I'm just going to go and have a little bit of a lie down.
You're not feeling well?
Well, everyone's gone out. Stan's gone to a birthday party, so they're gone.
Nice.
About. So I might get an hour's clip or something.
Nice. Yeah. I'm off to Prizzo.
Well, enjoy it.
I've got some club card vouchers I'm going to spend.
Lovely.
I'm going to get the biggest pizza and a bowl of chips. Nice. I'm just going to soothe my soul after another game where we didn't win. Can you imagine? Last night I was having a conversation with Neil on Facebook Messenger about embarrassments and where does yesterday sit? I don't even think it was in the top 15. We've had some right embarrassments over
Yeah,
that. As
okay,
Town
wait,
fans.
that's a show in itself. Maybe some summer content. Right there.
Absolutely, yeah. Most embarrassing
Almost
moment.
humour.
Ipswich Town, yeah.
Yeah.
Ipswich Jules, you can't compare last season and this season. Different teams in the league, different circumstances for everyone. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, guys. He has been the Unwell Mogul. I'm the Gov. We're back tomorrow, 8:30. F1 show at 7:15. And of course, don't forget, if you're around Ipswich, don't get stuck in a jam. Ipswich Buses, go contactless.
Ipswich Buses, your local bus company serving your football team. Buses run every 10 minutes. Avoid the traffic. Don't get stuck in the delay. Get Ipswich Buses today.